Kia ora, good evening. A 42-year-old man has drowned at Ocean Beach between Bluff and Invercargill yesterday. Craig Arthur Reid of Invercargill was collecting shellfish offshore with friends behind the former Ocean Beach freezing works when he appeared to get into difficulty in the water around mid-afternoon. He was brought to shore by his friends, who immediately began CPR on him, which was continued by ambulance staff shortly afterwards. Unfortunately, the man could not be resuscitated. The Environment Court has granted Southland District Council resource consent for Te Anao's wastewater disposal project. 3 commissioners released their decision on the project after 2 hearings last year. The consents are for 25 years and there are several conditions. The project comes with a price tag of around $12 million. That's on top of hefty costs to date.
It's the process to look at the alternatives for replacing the current discharge into Invercargill River and obviously into Lake Te Anao has been ongoing for a number of years, and Council's been working through that and had applied for this consent application last year.
So good news that it has come through in your favour. Just roughly what has it cost to date to get to this point?
Well, we're in the order of $600,000 to $700,000 of process cost to date, and obviously that process is still ongoing. This is really just the resource consenting phase. There is obviously the potential for an appeal against the decision of the commissioners. So
they have a reasonably short time frame to lodge an appeal if they want to, though?
Yes, certainly against the Environment Southland portion of the consents. There's a 15 working day time frame within which any decisions for an appeal need to be made. And so that clock is now ticking on that, given that the decision's out.
And do you think it's likely that you will get somebody will lodge an appeal against this?
Certainly some of the indications we've heard to date have been that they will look to appeal any decision, so we'll obviously have to wait and see what happens there. But certainly, given that possibility and the wide community interest that's been in this issue to date, we're keen to talk to the Community Board and the Manapuri CDA and also the Fiordland and Sewage Options Group to talk through their reading of the consent and any concerns that they may have about the decisions being released by the commissioners, and see if we can find some common ground to work through those issues.
There are some conditions.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of conditions in there, and we're still working our way through them. But those conditions include, for example, limits on nitrogen in the disposal wastewater. They do include a proposal to form or requirement to form a community consultation liaison group. So we've got to work through those detailed conditions and make sure they are things that we can live with. But certainly our initial read is that they look okay from our perspective.
Yachts and boats in Queenstown are set to have a new place to dock, with a marina being planned for Lake Wakatipu. Private developers Lake Marina Projects Limited have applied for resource consent to build a $10 million 195-berth marina in Frankton. The Queenstown Lakes District Council have backed the proposal, saying the marina will provide an important piece of recreational infrastructure for the community. A full marina at Frankton's been in the pipeline for years, but the council's now authorised staff to conclude negotiations with developers, including a view to develop and to implement a development and lease agreement which will enable the marina to use the Frankton Marina Local Purpose Reserve while maintaining public access to the Frankton track. A hearing to consider the developer's application resumed before commissioners today. Voters in the Mararoa Waimea ward in North West Southland will be receiving their voting papers over the next few days ahead of a by-election mid-February. Former councillor Alistair Duke has resigned, leaving a position vacant, which 4 candidates are contesting for the seat of the ward. John Hardcastle, Abel Kremer, Jan Ludeman and Shirley Mowat have been nominated to run for the extraordinary vacancy. The postal vote by-election takes place on February 17th. Motorists travelling State Highway 1 through Woodlands can expect minor delays on a section of the highway over the next month. The highway will be reducing to 1 lane to allow construction work on new passing lanes being built. The new passing lanes are expected to improve safety and reduce travel times on the main highway between Invercargill and Gore. The New Zealand Transport Agency says the road will be down to 1 lane during the day with traffic management signals in place. Both traffic lanes will be available outside construction hours. Stay with us after the break. The Stewart Island levy proves its worth, plus local drivers take on the pros at Teretonga. Welcome back. Stewart Island's $5 levy has been in place for just over a year now, and it's proven to be a valuable means of revenue for the island. We caught up with Southern District Council member Bruce Ford to find out how the levy's benefited the island in its first year.
Very specific as to what we can do with that, and it is intended to be visitor related, so things like track work for visitors to use. We've just spent some money on Port William jetty, refurbished that, and that's a regular spot that visitors will make day trips to, and trampers and the like, so it's very specific. And as well as that, there's a free Wi-Fi area where we are now, and that has been part of that for visiting people to catch up on their technical things.
Is this a revenue stream that the island was in real need of?
Well, a lot of the facilities that were being used by visitors were in fact being paid by ratepayers, and consequently we couldn't provide all the services that we would like to provide. And now that this money is available, we can provide far better service to visitors.
How has the levy been met by visitors to the island?
Well, most folks like yourselves probably didn't even realise you'd paid it, and some people turn up and pay extra, and that's even better. So they don't even feel it. And
how much has been raised since it came into effect?
Only started in October 13, so that first year about 120,000 I think. So this year with a full year we would expect to probably get 150, and it's been not a bad season as well, so those numbers are reflecting that.
What projects will this money be going towards in 2015?
This time round the allocations will perhaps be in April, and they would close at the end of March. Time will tell. We do need some more track work completed, and that's pretty expensive stuff. You have to apply on the means that it is a visitor service that's being used for, and there are some pretty strict criteria for that. And we probably get oversubscribed, but that's pretty standard with all sorts of funding operations. But it is a great opportunity.
Will there be any increase on the levy in the near future, or are you happy where it stands now?
Well, certainly the way we're going now, it's proving quite adequate. I don't anticipate there would be any major need for an increase, unless there's some extraordinary need for a different service, but we're doing very well at the moment, I believe.
After 32 years at the top, the Toyota Hilux's run as New Zealand's best-selling light commercial vehicle has been broken. The Ford Ranger is now in top spot, selling 564 more than Toyota Hilux, followed by Holden's Colorado last year. The Motor Trade Association is reporting double-digit growth in almost every sector and says New Zealand now has the largest number of cars ever, with figures that indicate there are now 5.7 passenger vehicles for every 10 people. The growth over 2014 has been described as huge, with a 30% increase on used and imported commercials compared to 2013 and a 19% gain in the new commercial sector. Motorcycle sector is also strong, with 11% more in new and used motorcycles registered last year compared to 2013. Several local drivers had success on the track at Teretonga over the weekend. Huge crowds enjoyed the action at the Summer Fuel Festival while basking in the sunshine.
Racing conditions were ideal over the two-day weekend event at Teretonga Raceway as the Toyota Racing Series Championship continued. Invercargill driver Brennan Leach has been propelled to third place on the points table following his debut win of the series. Leach took out the feature race, the Spirit of a Nation Cup, much to the delight of the Southland crowd. The 19-year-old led from start to finish to become the first Southlander to claim the prestigious trophy. Fellow Southlander Jamie Conroy also won his first TRS race in just his second weekend in the series, rating it a career highlight. Conroy used pole position to lead from the start, beating off Russian GP2 competitor Artem Markelov. Overall, Conroy is now 6th in the championship. Grant Malloy and Grant Pilcher, both of Winton, along with Liam McDonald of Invercargill, competed in the TL class, with McDonald, Malloy and Pilcher in 4th, 5th and 6th respectively. In the finale of the TLC class, McDonald was 3rd, Malloy 4th, and Pilcher cruised home at the back with problems. Invercargill teenager McDonald repeated his efforts from last weekend with another 3rd overall for the round.
And conditions were perfect in the seaside town of Bluff yesterday for music lovers. The first of 6 Sound of Summer concerts series kicked off in Bluff yesterday with hundreds of people soaking up the music and atmosphere. Local entertainers Lipstick and Chameleon headlined the performance, with United Kingdom musician Anthony John Clark opening. Irish-born singer-songwriter Clark has released 12 CDs, 3 CDs and 2 songbooks. The Bluff camping ground doubled as the concert venue, and further outdoor summer concerts are planned over the coming weeks for South City, Glengarry and Queen's Park. Summer Sounds at Southland concerts are free, but musicians welcome donations. Next on Sport, Tom catches up with Southland Centurion Tim Boys before he heads to Ireland on a rugby contract. That's right after the weather next. From the news team, good night.